Going on YouTube, Cloverbell's here, back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today we're going to be taking a look at Azumarill's recent rise in the current meta and what kind of role does it bring to certain teams, especially in a best of 3 tournament. So Azumarill's a very interesting choice, right? And it's got a pretty cool typing with Water Fairy. Think of Primarina back in Gen 7, and you know, just like the fact that you have a lot of offensive pressure with it. Physical offensive pressure, you know, you can just do a lot of things that's pretty strong in the meta right now, which explains why it recently rose currently. But before we do that, let's look at why. Before we look at the meta, let's look at just Azumarill overall, right? So base 100 HP, very, very bulky. Actually, it's just very bulky, not like very, very bulky. Speed, not so great, but that's okay. We have ways to compensate for that. The attack stat looks poor, but again, if you look at the ability, and this is what makes Azumarill really good, the huge power ability where your attack is doubled. So imagine this, but just double, right? So very, very strong attack stack. And then you look at the defenses, like base 80 defense, special defense, also 80, pretty bulky Pokemon, right? And then if you can just get this behind like screens, for example, like with Grimmsnarl, then it does really, really well. And again, we don't really care about the special attack stat. Now the speed, you know, it could function as well like in some Trick Room games, so that's also a possibility. There's some other base 50 Pokemon out there, but that's okay. The idea is you have this move called Aqua Jet, where like even if you don't have like complete speed control, you just have like a priority move and it goes first, right? And again, you might say base 40 is not a lot, but a couple of reasons why that's not so important is one, because of huge power, you have a good attack stat. And two, in previous formats and in previous generations, Azumarill ran this other move called Belly Drum, where you're able to just cut your HP in half, along with the Sitrus Berry. So once you reach that half point, you're able to get some of it back, and then you just maximize your attack, right? So now this Aqua Jet is going for like plus 6, and it hurts a lot, and it can one-shot a lot of things. And imagine like Tera Water, Aqua Jet, Belly Drum stuff. It can do a lot of damage, right? But it's not the only thing that this thing can do, right? Because if it was, then it just wouldn't be like so viable. But it offers a lot of different things, and we're gonna take a look down memory lane in terms of like the meta and see how Azumarill rose and progressed, right? So without further ado, let's just go ahead and take a look at it. Okay, so now let's take a look all the way back at what I feel is a good starting point here. Let's go back to the Nino Poke Roaster from number 59 from about couple weeks ago, and if again you look at the details, December 9th, right? So pretty much 2 weeks, all right? And if you look at where the meta was 2 weeks, there is no Azumarill here, nothing, right? So, you know, not even in the top cut, and then not even in like the lower placements. Like it's still all about like Rotom and Gyarados and Dondozo stuff. Like there is no Azumarill to be found, right? If I had to keep going down, like even Palafin makes an appearance, but like there's just no Azumarill. All right, so as of this point, Azumarill, as of, you know, December 9th, it's not relevant in the meta, okay? But then we go into the Victory Road tournament, you know, a tournament where you had 400 plus people, go to December 10th, which is basically a day or two later, and then you realize, oh wait, so now we have some Azumarill. Like let's look at the top 40. We have one Azumarill here from Maddie, Chongjun, you'll use it as well. That's already 2. And then if I keep going down the list, you know, you see a bunch of other water options, but then look at this, 3 straight Azumarills from 29, 30, and 31. So now you're starting to see like the rise of Azumarills, and there was about 5 of them if I recall, right? Let me just look at the stats here in terms of like where it made it. I believe it was 5, but anyway, okay. So now Azumarill is starting to rise, okay? This is as of December 10th in the Big Victory Road tournament, and you might say, oh, okay, well, why is it rising? Well, what does it do? Well, if you look at what was strong currently at the time, it was like all about Garchomp, Goldango. Here, let's actually put it in the team builder here. What was rising? We had Garchomp, okay? We had you know, Hydreigon, you had Murkrow, and you had, of course, the Goldango, right? So if you just think of like this 4, what does Azumarill do to all of this? It actually does a lot, because don't forget, Azumarill is also a pretty strong fairy type, and it does get Play Rough. And the thing is, with Play Rough and a water move, okay, first of all, Garchomp just drops to Play Rough. It could even like take, and if it goes for Terra Ground, then you just have like a water attack pressure right on it. Same thing with Hydreigon, 4 times weak to fairy, so that drops. Murkrow, another dark type, drops. Okay, and then thing is with Goldango, you might think, you know, you're a fairy type, you're weak to it, but again, because of your water typing, you just take neutral damage to make it rain, and then you're just able to deal like damage right back with your water stuff, right? And you can just pretty much just KO the Goldango, right? So then with this consideration, like Azumarill looking pretty good. And then if you also consider some other dark types that's running around, more importantly, this thing, the Meowscarada, and then if you even look here with the Grimmsnarl stuff, and then what else is like relevant? And like these two as well. And then like other fire types, like, you know, Skeledirge, Rotom, Heat. All right, let's just throw those in there. All right, Rotoms, and then another fire type, like even Volcarona, right? So then you just consider like all the popular fire types, and then they just drop to Azumarill too. Like Aqua Jet just like pretty much one-shots a lot of this if you can get a belly drum off. Or you can go for like the hard-hitting liquidations with the Life Orb set. But, you know, a lot of the current meta actually just drops to Azumarill. Now, you might say Meowscarada can just KO it with a grass move. That's true, but you do have fairy coverage, so, you know, you can still deal super effective right back to it if you can pretty much outspeed it. Grimmsnarl, again, also drops to the play rough. So, Azumarill looking pretty good. And then people started figuring that out. And then, you know, you go forward a little bit. Let's go to, did we go to Mount Silver here? Okay, yeah, let's go to Mount Silver, and then you go to the standings here. This is another smaller tournament, but still like pretty good players where like you're able to test stuff. And then now you can see Azumarill again appearing in the top cut. So you got here in the 3rd place team with Hydreigon, and then over here down here with Scotty's team. This is a pretty good Hydreigon squad. This is also made by Paul's team. Paul made the squad, and I believe Scotty just used it. So Life Orb, Azumarill with Protect, Aqua Jet, Play Rough, and Waterfall. Okay, so this actually was supposed to be Liquidation, but he did not have the TM at the time, if I remember his tweet post. But yeah, a balanced Hydreigon or King Gambit balanced squad, as you want to call it, does really well here. You see you have coverage with the Fairy, and you have coverage with your Water option, right? Which is really, really good in terms of like trying to deal out damage. So good placement there. And then if you go down here, again with Reiko, again another placement, and then another, even though it didn't crack the top 16, but still like another good one, another balanced squad with Hydreigon, Grimmsnarl. You'll see the Azumarill there, and that's pretty much it. So as of this moment, you know, a week ago instead of 2 weeks ago, Azumarill is now rising, okay, because now it's entering top cut placements. All right, now let's go to one of the Hatterene tours. December 17th, a couple days later, and now it's on the winning team. Okay, I can't see the spreads, of course, but just to note that it's on the winning team, which means like now it's progressing to the point where like, okay, people can not only top cut with this, but now they can win with it. And this is a smaller tournament, but still at the end of the day, you know, it's worth noting that it's on a winning team here. And then you can see here with Patty's squad, also relevant down there, and then you just figure like, well, what are they running, like what kind of sets? So we'll get into that in a second, but again, I'm just trying to like show the progression here. And then we go into the Nino's tour number 60, and then we'll just take note how many Azumarills are here. There's one in 3rd place from Big Mike OG, again screens with Grimmsnarl and Hydreigon, again a very common theme. All right, and another one with Squirrel. This is the same team, they just used it. And again, another one here, just missed top cut placement, but again, another squad with Hydreigon, able to do well within there. And if I scroll down even more, do I find a little bit more Azumarills? I think this is just like all Rainbows. Yeah, okay. So this is, there's one more here with 5-3, you know, at 63rd place. But okay, so, and then we go into the X9 tour, okay, which was the second pop-up tour, December 21st. So just a couple days ago now. And look at how many Azumarills are here now. Again, with Hydreigon. So 1, 2, 3, all right, 4, and okay, so 4 in the top cut, and then look at this, like still top 32. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 Azumarills in the top 32. Like holy cow! Like I know these guys just barely missed top cut, but like 5-3 is still pretty good. And again, notice the theme with Hydreigon, okay, and it's a pretty common Pokemon to pair it with because it just makes a lot of sense. But 8 Azumarills now in the top 8. You know, whereas like a week before you didn't even see it on any teams, okay? And then you fast forward to last night, all right, where we had the 61st Nino Pokebros tour. Let's look how many Azumarills are in the top cut now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, and 7. Okay, so technically just 6 Azumarills. All right, did I even click top cut? All right, I just clicked standings. That's okay. Oh wait, here we go. Top cut. Yeah. So I was right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Azumarills in the top cut. Like that's still like pretty significant. The fact that you can get 6. All right. So now, and again, this was last night. So we went from no Azumarills 2 weeks ago to like Azumarills in the top cut. Okay. So now we understand like why it's rising. Okay. Or we understand how it's rising, but now again we also went over why it's rising because of the movesets. But these were just like projected movesets. Like, are they actually running belly drum, or is it just like a straight offensive bulky set? So now what we're gonna do is let's take a look back at some of the tournament teams and see what exactly are the sets that they're running that's making Azumarill so effective. Okay, let's start here with the X9 League Tour. So this was just about like 3 days ago. Let's look at Velocity C. Excuse me. So it's a Citrus Berry set with Liquidation Player of Aqua Jet Protect. So no belly drum set, and it is Tera type grass, so that's really good against the Meowscarada. Like we said, like even though it would take super effective damage, the fact that you can go for a Tera type grass option is really good. That's also nice against Amoonguss stuff as well. But you know, really nice here. And again, notice even though you do have redirection, no belly drum set, and there's a reason why they opted to not go for that. But let's keep going here. See if there's other differential sets. Let's go to Mr. Penguin. Very good player, has his own YouTube channel. Good player for a very long time. And again, this one's now an Assault Vest set, but still Tera type grass. So 4 moves. Again, Liquidation Player of Aqua Jet, pretty standard. And then he's got Trailblaze. This is the grass move, so you get a grass stab damage, and then of course you're able to get speed control that way. So Assault Vest variant is also really nice. Then let's look at Gunching, if I'm saying that correctly, hopefully. And then this is the birth of the Perish Trap stuff, right? So you still had Citrus Berry, you still had you know, an interesting moveset over here actually. Chilling Water, Perish on Protect, Insane. You could also run the the Perish stuff on the Gothitelle, but instead they opted to just go a little bit more supportive with the Gothitelle with like Hypnosis, Trick Room, and Fake Out. And then the Azumarill is the Perish Song stuff, and this is actually pretty helpful in like best of 3 stuff, especially with like the mental drainage where it's hard playing all those rounds. So if you can just maneuver your Perish stuff, you pretty much play it the same way, and then just like keep alternating, keep pivoting, and then you get key KOs, and then you drop the opponent that way, right? So good set with their Azumarills, and there's other Perish Trap stuff with Gothitelle, which we'll look at in a later timestamp in the video. So yeah, let's keep going here. So we've seen 3 different Azumarill sets so far. So good flexibility with the Citrus Berry, Assault Vest, and then a Perish Trap set. Now we go into this one, Mr. Schmucker. And it is a Citrus Berry set, Tera type Water this time, so no grass option, but Protect, Aqua Jet, Parasong. So the idea is like if you see it with Gothitelle, it's more likely that the Azumarill is a Perish set, right? And it's not as likely as the Gothitelle having a Perish set. All right, so that's one thing to note. If you run into these Azumarill Gothitelle teams, assume that the Azumarill has Perish Trap, okay? So that's another thing. We'll keep going here. All right, let's look at these 4. So Mr. Gumi, again with Hydreigon, Assault Vest set, Liquidation Player of Aqua Jet, Ice Spinner instead of the grass move, but Tera type Water. So ice coverage really good against other flying types in the meta. It's still really good against some dragons. So there's merit there. All right, Cell VGC. All right, Citrus Berry, Tera Water again. Liquidation Player of Aqua Jet Protect, relatively standard. All right, so that's good. And then Sable Eyes Team Brian from Canada. What was he running? Again, same idea. Water Stab, Water Priority, Fairy Move, Protect, and then Citrus Berry set, right? So again, no belly drum, okay? And I've asked some players this, like, why is there no belly drum stuff? So because the idea is the belly drum setup takes a little bit too long. It's not so fast. And you're just able to get out more value with the Azumarill if you can just pressure with more damage immediately, right? So you sacrifice that belly drum set, you get a little bit more coverage, and you're just able to push out more damage immediately without having to waste a turn to set up. So that's the idea there, okay? And then if we go look at last night with the Nino Pokebros Tour, so let's look at some of the sets from last night as opposed to like 3 days ago. Another Hydreigon team with Azumarill. So this is the Life Orb set. And again, player of Aqua Jet, Liquidation, Protect, same stuff, but no Sitrus Berry. Now it's Life Orb, even more damage. All right, but no Perish Trap, right? So that's also very interesting. So maybe going for the Juke concept here, where like you make them assume they have it, but then they don't. Fake out, Heal, Pulse, and Trick Room. Okay, so that's interesting. All right, then we go down here to Azulite, right? Alex, who I've done a couple coaching sessions with, as in he coached me, not the other way around. And he's also a fan of the Belly Drum set. So finally, we see a Belly Drum set after a long while. And it makes sense here, right? You have mouse hold redirection, you're able to set it up, and then you just go for priority Aqua Jets, right? So good idea there. And then as we go down, Mosquito over here, again, this is like the top cut stuff. This is not just like, you know, oh, 5-0, then we're done. By the way, we'll talk about these two teams in another video, because like the fact that two Baxcaliburs were in first and second place, that's also really interesting. We'll probably dedicate a whole video just for like this kind of concept, but I just want to focus more on Azumarill. All right, so Mosquito again. So Sitrus Berry, Sap Sipper instead of Huge Power. That's interesting. Makes a lot of sense. You're not trying to be like an offensive Azumarill when you're trying to run the Parasong stuff, so it makes a lot of sense. And then we'll go over here to Vanusco. We'll just look at a couple more here. All right, so back to the Assault Vest set with the Ice move. So Tera Grass option again, very, very consistent. And then we'll just do this last one right here. And it is another Assault Vest with the Ice move, right? So for every common set, either you're running Ice or Grass move on the Assault Vest variant, which again makes a lot of sense. So yeah, we've seen different Azumarill sets depending on the squads, right? So that's also interesting to know, which means you have good flexibility in how you want to use them on. So let's summarize this and let's see if we can go back into the team builder and just present the common Azumarill sets that you can consider running. That's relatively proven already, as we've seen in the tournament results. All right, so let's look at the different, in summary, possible Azumarill sets that you can run. So you can use the Belly Drum set that Alex just used to get top 8 last night with Aqua Jet, Player Up, Belly Drum, and Protect. So the idea here is you set up Belly Drum turn 1, you get some HP back, but then you start hitting hard with the Aqua Jets next turn because of priority. So there's the idea there. The Assault Vest variant that Mr. Penguin used and a couple other use, you're going for the Tera Grass option and you're going with Liquidation, Player of Aqua Jet, and then a +1 filler. You could do like Trailblaze, which will raise your speed by +1, which is really nice, and then you get Stab variant with the Tera Grass, or you can go with the Ice Spinner tech, just a little bit more extra ice damage against the dragons, the flying types, the grass types, and then you can also opt for Tera Water here if you like, or keep the grass variant. It's really up to you, but it's these 3 stabs with a +1 filler, so that's up to you. Or you can go with the Perish variant again with Sitrus Berry, Aqua Jet, Sing, Parasong, and then Protect, so you're able to put things to sleep, and then you're able to go for like Parasong stuff. And again, this is always with like the Gothitelle stuff, so just note that. So if you're gonna go with this, definitely have the Gothitelle on your team, or you can just go like full offensive variant with the Liquidation, Player Up, Aqua Jet, and then Protect set. And again, of course, you can go with the Tera Water or even Tera Grass if you just want to be able to survive the grass type attacks or the electric type attacks that's running around. So I believe these 4 are the top 4 Azumarill sets right now. If I missed one, let me know in the comments. But before I leave you, I want to leave you with a couple more teams that you're able to use with this stuff. So if you look here, this is set up by VGC Pace. So shout out to the boys over there for making this graphic. But these are a couple rentals where you can try the Azumarill, Gothitelle, Perish Trap stuff, and they're relatively consistent. You can see like they're always paired with like the Gothitelle, and then some of them have Grimmsnarl stuff, and then just from there. But also if you want to try a little bit more of an offensive stuff, you can go with the Grimmsnarl screens with like King Gambit balance or Hydreigon balance, whichever one you want to call it. But Paul decided to do with Azumarill with a Life Orb set, where you're just able to pressure immediately instead of like relying on the Belly Drum stuff, and then Aqua Jet, Player Off. And again, this should be Waterfall, but I believe it should, it's supposed to be Liquidation, but you could not get the TM in time, but it's still like pretty much almost equal damage, right? And I believe if you check out his Twitter, I believe there is an updated rental where there is Liquidation, but at the very least, you can still try this one. It's still relatively consistent, still has done really well in recent tours. But yeah. So like again, if you just look at the meta, like it just does really well to a lot, right? So if I just were to scroll down here again, Murkrow, Garchomp, Hydreigon, we know what it could do there. Amoonguss again, Tera Grass, but again you just like pressure it immediately with just like your fairy stuff, or even the ice coverage will help you here. Annihilate, you click the fairy move. Armor Urge, you click the water move. Meowscarada, Tera Grass, you click your ice move. Okay, and then Grimmsnarl, click the fairy move. Indeedee, it shuts down your Aqua Jet, but again you could just pressure with the water move. Arcanine drops, all right, and then you just go from your Torkoal, Rotom Wash, all these things. If you have the grass tech over there, you can probably punish the Rotom, but does a lot. Tyranitar drops, Charolette drops, Tatsugiri drops, even the Dondozo a little bit to an extent, right? If it goes Terra Dragon, you're in business because then you're a fairy type, or you have fairy coverage, I should say. Dragonite, Dragapult, Skeledirge, they all drop. Excalibur drops, fairy coverage. All right, Mousehold, you can pressure with the water move. All right, Talonflame, Volcarona. Oops, it went back to the beginning. But you get the idea, right? Like you see how much it just pressures. Talonflame, Volcarona. All right, they all drop. Okay, and like the grass stuff, as long as you have like Terra Grass, like you can always be able to take those attacks. So yeah, let me know what you think of Azumarill. And again, it's really helpful on a lot of teams, especially if you have like those Hydreigon, Grimmsnarl stuff. So definitely give it a go. It's rising. You're gonna see a lot more of it, and beware of the Gothitelle Perish stuff. All right. So yeah, that'll be it for this one, guys. Peace out. Have a good holiday, and see you later.